I almost forgot to mention, yeah, sorry, batteries. Almost forgot to mention what happened with the Ninja Turtle thing, how I got so much stuff for such a cheap price. Like I said, I spent $40 and I got all those things signed, as you can see. The first day we met Kevin Eastman, my fiance had a shirt on that said, "I love being a turtle." And he signed two things of mine that I gave her to sign. He signed the two things for free. And then I got two items signed for free. And then he had the price list, but I think, like I said, I'm not trying to say I pulled one over on him, because that's not really the way I like to roll. But his manager, or whatever that was taking the money, was way too busy with other things to pay attention, I guess. So basically, the first 8 people were there that they got two things signed for free, because he thought that we paid the manager, I guess, and we didn't. Because like I said, it was one thing signed for free, and then you had to pay $20 for each additional item. So my fiance and I got 4 things signed for free, basically. And it was funny because Eastman was looking at my fiance's shirt. He's like, "Oh, I love that." He's like, "I love being a turtle." He's like, "Really cool." He's like, "I like that." And I guess maybe he wasn't paying too much attention because he signed both things, and he's like, "Thanks for coming out," and blah blah blah. And then I just handed him my stuff real fast. And I had asked him what he thought of the new movie, and what he thinks of how people are handling his creation and stuff like that. He says he loved the new movie. He thought it was great. It took 3 years to make. He said he worked on it almost every step of the way. And he said he loves the fact that the turtles have standed the test of time. He says he loves seeing how people interpret them and the turtles, and how they make them their own in a way. So he's extremely happy that his creations have lasted. But again, he was just a nice guy. He really was. And with Manu Bennett and Ron Perlman, I forgot to mention this, but Deathstroke, obviously. Again, he talked to everybody, for a long period of time. But we were talking about Arrow. I asked him, I was like, is Deathstroke obviously going to make another appearance? And I said to him, is he going to come out in season 3 and all this stuff? And he's like, yeah. He's like, he's like, quite honestly, he's like, he's coming back. He's like, the producers and the director said they wanted me back. He's like, the only problem is I can't say, because he's like, not because I don't want to or because I'm under contract. He goes, because I don't know. He's like, they said they want me back. He's like, but it's just a matter of when. He's like, I really don't know until the last possible second they'll call me up and say, hey, I need you to come down Friday. He's like, and this will be Thursday morning. And he's like, and then I know that I'm on the show. He's like, but it's a possibility. And I had mentioned to him, I was like, you should have your own Deathstroke spinoff. And he was like, he lit up. He's like, that would be great. He's like, it'd be awesome. And it was cool because he was actually doing the Deathstroke voice. He was talking to people like that when you mentioned Deathstroke stuff. And he had mentioned how he got the part. And I also told him, I was like, if Hugh Jackman ever stops being Wolverine, which is probably soon, I think he should take up the mantle as Wolverine. And he looked at me, he's like, that would be really cool. He's like, I'd love to be Wolverine. I was like, I think he'd make a pretty damn good Wolverine. But he had mentioned how he got the part of Deathstroke. I know, hopefully people want to hear these stories. I wish I had him on tape, but again, like I said, they had camera Nazis that just wouldn't let you do anything. And that's Seamus, we hear him in the background, he's eating. But he had mentioned he was in Afghanistan or something like that, and he was learning some stuff from special forces and military things, like how to get people in a chokehold and make them pass out, and all these different moves. And his manager or whatever said, I need you to go to this audition. It's for a show called Arrow. And he's like, I was exhausted. He's like, I went straight from Afghanistan. He's like, to this thing in Los Angeles. He goes, I was out. It was like I was jet lagged. He's like, and the scene was when you first meet Deathstroke, where he comes through the skylight and chokes the guy out. And he's like, what happened was, he's like, I look at everybody, and everyone in other rooms were auditioning, and he goes, they didn't have the energy. He's like, they just didn't sound the way this character was supposed to be. He's like, I came in, and he's like, and there was a camera guy filming me. He's like, and I asked him, I was like, can you come up front and help me with this? And the guy said, yeah. And he's like, and he got the camera guy in this throat lock that you see in the show. And he did it so well that he actually had the camera guy pass out in his arms. And when he let go, the guy dropped. He thought it was part of the thing. He's like, is this part of the script? And the guy goes, no. He's like, I think he legitimately choked him out. And he's like, oh, man. And he's like, I started slinking off to the left. He's like, just trying to get out of there. And he's like, I got in my car. He's like, I was headed to the airport. He's like, I didn't get that. And he's like, my manager called and said, how did it go? And he's like, I sort of choked the guy out. He goes, but it seems to be all right. And he's like, and the next thing I know, he's like, I got the part. He's like, it was really cool. But also with Ron Perlman, I was talking to him, and like I mentioned all the stuff that he was in. I was like, is there any possibility we're going to make a Hellboy that you're going to make a Hellboy 3? We'll make it. Yeah, I'd love to make it. And he said, he goes, I'm really pushing for it. He's like, I've been with producers and directors. And he's like, and he's like, honestly, he's like, even if I have to put my own money in, he's like, I'm gonna get it done. He's like, so expect to see a Hellboy 3. He's like, it's just scheduling and trying to get everything locked down. He goes, that's making it very difficult. He's like, and getting people to return. He's like, but we're really pushing for it. He's like, I'm hoping to get it started by 2016. So who knows? I guess we'll wait and see on that one. But anyway, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this extremely amount of parts. But my fiance and I had a freaking great time. It's one of the very few times I've seen her have fun at a convention, because it just felt more relaxed. I don't know why. Maybe because there just wasn't that many people there, that we just kind of enjoyed ourselves a little more. And it was funny too, because when the story I told you with the guy with the poster where I have from the 80s, and the guy wanted to buy it, he's like, it's amazing that you have it in such good condition. And my fiance, again, I was shocked. She's like, yeah, she goes, he's really good with that stuff. She's like, he's got a lot of things that he keeps in great shape that he's had since he was a kid. She goes, it's pretty impressive. And she's like, if you were to see his cave, she goes, you'd know. And I'm like, oh my God. It's like, I got a compliment from the wife. I'm amazed. But yeah, that will do it for this. Thank you all for subscribing and watching through this stuff. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I wish I just had stuff to show a little more, like videos and stuff like that. But again, it was almost impossible. Like every time I took my camera out, there was somebody like right there. I'm like, this is nuts. But if you do want to see a video on all the stuff, all my conventions I've gone to, I will make it. I figured it might be cool. But just let me know. And it's not the size you keep that matters, it's what you have in it. And I got a lot of boxing and bagging and all that stuff to do. So later, everyone.